Hi, welcome to the Sports Pet with Eugine Manganye live on the Express Online. Today we're going to talk about the sporting events that took place during the course of the weekend. You know what to expect. As we approaching, the return of some of the sporting activities that have been announced. We know that there have been, a long shutdown of sports worldwide because of the coronavirus. So today we're going to talk about some of the most important things that we had during the course of the week. So we're going to start with what's happening in football, particularly European football. We know that the Premier League, it's Serie A, and La Liga have announced that they will be returning this month in June. We know that first up it will be La Liga, which will be on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, on the 11th of the month, with a match scheduled to take place each day. They've also released their fixture lineup with Barcelona playing on Saturday, and Real Madrid will also be playing on Sunday. There are late kickoffs, and they have promised that there will be a game each day for the remainder of the season until the last two rounds of the season. So we also heard that in La Liga we saw a minor injury scare for Barcelona with Lionel Messi limping yesterday from training sessions. But yeah, they said it's not serious, but he will have to sit out some of the training sessions next week. Moving to Serie A, they've also released their fixture list for the games or the return, with the first round going to see Inter Milan, who will be playing on Saturday, a day before or a day after the resumption of the season. We know that Inter Milan were involved or are still involved somewhat in the title race with Lazio and also Juventus, and many people are crying foul because Lazio, when by the time they play Juventus would have played two games already, and many believe that will give Juventus an advantage, because saying Juventus plays two games before you play, it means you are giving them advantage to come into terms, and familiarize themselves with the situation of playing behind closed doors, and also coming back, we're giving them time to customize or acclimatize themselves with the circumstances, while Lazio will be thrown in the deep ocean by the time they meet Juventus. And many people are feeling that it's unfair, because we know that the points difference between them and Juventus is only 1 point at the top of the log, while Inter Milan, I think they are 4 points behind, and also have played a game more. The Premier League also is set to return on the 17th with, as we mentioned last week, with two games scheduled for that day. One of them, a mouth-watering encounter between Arsenal and Manchester City. Remember that this game was supposed to be played back in February, but for Manchester City's commitments in the Carabao Cup, that meant that match was rescheduled. So it means that the first match, on the return for Mikel Arteta will be against his former side, and it has a huge implications on the league title, because should Arsenal somehow win against Manchester City, it would mean that Liverpool will only need to beat Everton, their Merseyside rivals, at Goodison, to lift their first title in 30 years. So Arsenal will surely have many red fans behind them than usual. We've also heard that there has been testing from the Premier League. I think it was the 4th round of testing that happened in the past weekend, and out of them only one individual tested positive, which is good news, because we know that the Serie A, they had set themselves a target of 30. If they had less than 30 people testing positive, they would have seen that as a success for them in Italy, given the amount of cases that they had. But now in England, we've seen much less than that, and this is, good news. It bodes well for the league going forward, and that particular gentleman or lady was confirmed to be from Spurs, Tottenham Hotspurs, and yeah, they also released that that person will be quarantining for 7 days. Another big thing that we learned was that there will be 5 substitutes for a Premier League when it resumes. Remember that law was passed temporarily by the IFAB and also FIFA. So the Premier League have taken that law also on board to say, yes, we're gonna also include 5 substitutes, which plays in the hands of clubs like Manchester City, who are having benches that are worth more than the team that they're playing against. So for them, bringing on 5 substitutes, you have your Leroy Sanes, your Gabriel Jesus's, you have your Rodriguez, you have your Gundogan, you have everybody, everyone that they will be bringing on will be fit enough to play for any of the Premier League sides. So for them, I think it's good news, but they are already done. I mean, second spot is already secured for them, but yeah, for other teams, I think it will boost them. The one worry will be for the teams below, down the bottom order of the league, because that would mean that by the time you thought you are grinding things out, other teams are able to bring on much more of talent to make sure that they trouble you, and yeah, I think for them it's not going to be a good one to practice. We've also had transfer rumors. We've heard that the Chelsea, remember that they signed Moroccan Hakim Ziyech from Ajax Amsterdam, and I think he won't be eligible to join Chelsea or to play this season, but they've already signed him, and rumors suggest that they have already completed the signing of one of the hottest properties at the moment in Timo Werner from RB Leipzig. He is one guy who is pacey. He's a finisher. He scored more than 30 goals already this season, more than 20 last season, or for the past 2 seasons he scored more than 20 goals. And I think it's an area of need for a team like Chelsea to be bringing a proven goal scorer. Yes, they had Tammy Abraham and they also had Giroud, but let's face it, you won't win the league with those two. You will not challenge the likes of Liverpool, the likes of Manchester City with an attack like that. So for them, I think it is a statement of intent to say, let's sign somebody like this. And to give you background, I saw people asking why they heard that he was signing with Liverpool, but why the sudden change? Remember, Chelsea had a transfer ban, for last year. So all the money that they were supposed to spend last year, they didn't spend because they had a transfer ban. So now everybody is being hit by the coronavirus financially, but for Chelsea, because they already have that money saved up in the bank. So for them to go and spend money won't be a problem as much as the other teams. So somebody will say, yeah, but I mean, Timo Werner is 60 million. Yes, he is 60 million, which for now, many people see 60 million as pennies, when you judge them against, transfers of your Kylian Mbappe's, your Philippe Coutinho's. But 60 million after coronavirus is a huge load of money. Remember, Liverpool, they were the ones that were, after Timo Werner, and there were suggestions that Liverpool had an agreement with Timo Werner. But why the sudden change? Timo Werner for Liverpool wouldn't be a starter, and for them to spend 60 million on somebody who wouldn't be a starter after the impact of the coronavirus was not going to be forthright and forthcoming for them. And I think hence they said, you know what, let's rather sit it out and see what happens. Chelsea are taking him for 60 million because it's a release clause. We know he is much more than that. But for them it's a bargain, a release clause. You pay 60 million. There's no discussion. You only discuss with the player. So for them, I think as well, and they are being also linked with the signing of left back from Leicester, which is Ben Chilwell, and also another left back from Ajax Amsterdam, in the likes of Nicolas Tagliafico. Kai Havertz, Leroy Sané are on the books, or on the eyes of Bayern Munich, who are looking to make sure that they replace your Ian Robbins, and also for the Frank Ribery with the youngsters. And we already know that they already have some quick youngsters in the likes of Coman and Serge Gnabry, who is doing very, very well. Neymar's sale to Barcelona is another one. Again, Barcelona, do they have the money? I don't think so. They have the players that can recuperate the money, but are people looking to buy those players? Those players being Coutinho and also Dembele. Will anybody want to buy them? We've seen them send Filippo Coutinho on loan, and the loan has not become a success. Will anybody come up and buy those two players for any substantial amount of money that can help them to buy Neymar? I'm not sure. We'll wait to see on that. There are other transfer rumors of Barcelona signing Lautaro Martinez, the striker from Inter Milan. Aubameyang is another one that seems like he will be leaving Arsenal. Should Lautaro Martinez leave, it might pave a way for Aubameyang to join the likes of Inter Milan. Arsenal themselves are linked with Thomas Partey. And what about Kylian Mbappe? We don't know. You'll just have to tune into this show so that you can know all about who's going where. Moving on to the Premier Soccer League, we've heard that Absa will be ending their 16-year relationship with the PSL after they confirmed that they will not be renewing their sponsorship contract at the end of the 2019-20 season. And it gives you a question of why. Is it because of the financial impact yet again of the coronavirus, or is it because of the controversy surrounding the PSL? Because we know that the PSL is not far away from having a controversy any time. So we don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, and we'll just have to also wait and see who's coming on board. Will anybody of credibility join the league, or will the league stand alone? And should it stand alone, does it have enough money to run a substantial amount of time without any financial backing from an independent company? We'll have to wait and find out. And to add on that, we have seen several clubs, including Bloemfontein Celtic and Bidvest Wits, being rumored to be selling their statuses. Are we, is it again because of the coronavirus, or is it many people are starting to feel that maybe football is not bringing enough money for them to be able to run their companies? We're not sure. We'll just have to wait and see. And then again, we've seen that this one grabs my attention. Turkish giants Trabzonspor have been handed a 1-year suspension from European competitions after contravening financial fair play rules. The reason why it grabs my attention is that Manchester City have appealed their 2-year ban from UEFA competitions, and their case will be heard next week. So Trabzonspor's ban has been uplifted. They will be given a 1-year ban for any one of the next 2 seasons. So Manchester City, also financial fair play, also case next week. Also, we've heard from Kaizer Chiefs that their appeal against the 2-year ban will be heard in September. Now, I'm sorry, I don't know how you would feel if you were a Kaizer Chiefs and a Manchester City fan, but your clubs are not doing very well. Because there's a strong possibility that should the current season end, we might see both clubs not being able to bring in players, and we might also see them bringing in some players. That will depend on some findings from this court. Certainly for Manchester City, at least they will be able to provide their case before the courts next week, and Kaizer Chiefs in September. If by then the league has not begun, the Premier Soccer League has not begun, then Kaizer Chiefs, perhaps they will have some clarity on what to do. But if it has begun, we don't know. Going to Formula 1, we've heard from Toto Wolff that they will be holding talks with six-time Formula 1 champion Lewis Hamilton for his contract renewal after the start of the season. So Toto Wolff wants the season to begin so that he can begin those talks with Lewis Hamilton. And also, he didn't really, when asked about Sebastian Vettel, he didn't dismiss those rumors, but he entertained them and saying, we will see. They've also released an 8-race calendar for the opening 8 races of the season, with Austria set to host 2 consecutive Grand Prix in the first 2 weeks of July, and we're also going to see 2 British Grand Prix in Silverstone in August of this year. So the reason why they released a calendar that consists of 8 races is because that according to Formula 1 laws, for a season to be considered as a season, it needs to have 8 completed races. So that's why they released 8 races first. Then they said that the other races, if they are to come, they will confirm them in days to come. Finally, we have Rugby Australia, who held the talks with their government in order to get permission for South Africa, New Zealand, and also Argentina to enter into the country, so that they can be able to be placed in a hub, enabling the country to host a congested Castle Lager Rugby Championship for 2020. Remember that all these countries, or most countries, are still under certain lockdown regulations that that doesn't permit international travel. Hence, Rugby Australia is negotiating with their government to allow these 3 countries to come into the country and be placed in a certain hub, so that rugby championship matches can continue. And I think that's a fantastic gesture, provided that we've seen from rugby from New Zealand that they're going to be organizing Super Rugby Aotearoa, something like that. Sorry for the pronunciation if it's wrong. They will be organizing Super Rugby for their 5 franchises that will be beginning next month also. And also, again, there have been talks to also have a South African competition for ourselves. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me. We have run out of time. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also hit those like buttons for more. Catch me again next time. Bye bye.